team that's coming off a bye week, one that is definitely operating at a high level and trending in a upward direction. So I'm going to talk a lot about them here this morning. I know there's a lot of information out there right now as far as a potential trade between us and the Giants. So I know a lot of that is out there, but unfortunately for myself, I'm not going to comment on any situation that is not official or is not complete. There is a process that's involved with all of this. We have spoken to the Giants. That is true, but unfortunately nothing there is official and nothing is really anything that I can comment on right now. So we'll see what happens with the process, and if it goes through, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and we'll just go from there. So I'd like to keep everything focused on Seattle as far as that's concerned. Hopefully we can appreciate the process there that we have to go through with the league. Okay? All right. Yes, sir.
I'm talking general about your defense and what having a good, solid interior defender in there does for your defense. Who that person might be.
Yeah, well, I think, just in general for us defensively, we're trying to grow every single week. The guys are obviously trying to work real hard to learn the techniques that we're asking them to do. There's some certain things there from a fundamental standpoint that, every single week something's a little bit different that comes up. Last week it was good to see us see some plays that we saw earlier in the year that were a problem for us that we were able to play a little bit better. But certainly, this week, look, with Seattle and their run game and the way that they come downhill, the threat of the quarterback, their ability to keep the ball on the edge, be able to get downhill with the running backs they have, Carson and Davis, and just the big physicality of their run style, their offensive line. Brown is the tackle, does a great job, very similar to what we saw earlier in the year from Dallas. I mean, these guys come out, they maul you, they get on top of you, and they just try to knock you off the ball. So it'll be a big challenge for us as that standpoint to defend the run, but they have great skill players that can push the ball vertically downfield. And, Doug Baldwin's great, Lockett. I mean, those guys, Moore, who will be out there, the other third receiver. Those guys just do an outstanding job of capitalizing on a lot of those extended plays that you'll see, and they just create big opportunities for their offense. So very dangerous situation coming up this weekend.
Just in general, how difficult is it for a defensive lineman to pick up what you guys try to do defensively?
I don't know. It just depends on whoever it is. We've had some guys here who we've been working with for a while, and guys that are continuing to improve every single day. And look, at this point, we're just trying to go out and get better. We don't have a lot of time for fundamentals and technique like we did during training camp. So we try to get caught up as much as we can whenever we can in those situations. But in general, we're trying to do that across the board. We got a lot of improving to do, whether it's the O-line, D-line, back end, wide receivers, releases, running backs, quarterback reads. Doesn't really matter. We're just trying to get better than we were last week.
How pleased with the push from the interior of your defensive line are you with what you've gotten so far?
I think if you look at the body of work, just depends on what game we're talking about. I think in general, there's some good things we see every once in a while, and there's some things in there that we always want better. So just a continual improvement as a team is what we're looking for.
Back in August with 3 different teams. What's the value in seeing guys up close? You obviously have one guy in your team who you already brought over from the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, the only team really right now that I wish I had seen in training camp is Seattle. So that's kind of the one that I'm looking at that I wish I had a better look at. Going off of tape, they look real impressive up front. I think those guys do a great job of getting off the ball. Obviously, Frank Clark is someone that's a major issue for us to have to deal with this weekend. Reed, who's a defensive tackle out of Alabama, who's really kind of come into his own, very disruptive player, gets off the ball, does a great job of penetrating. And again, they got 2 outstanding linebackers, really 3 with Mingo that they're playing right now, kind of behind the ball. So that's really the front I'm worried about the most.
You continue to lean more and more on Deshaun Hand, and he seems to be handling that very well. Just going back to some of the other talks we've had with rookies, what's the concern about, I guess, managing his playing time over the course of a first full season?
Yeah, I think, we talked at length about that with those rookie players, whether it's, the running back position, Frank Ragnow inside, any of those guys that are first and second year guys. The second year guys are another group that we've talked a lot about, especially like Kenny Galladay and kind of where that second year player needs to go and see some different things that he has to then get used to. I would say at this point in the year with the rookies or the young guys, the first year guys or guys that are playing a lot for us more recently that haven't played before, the intensity of the different game plans picks up. There's a little bit more scheme involved, kind of coming out of the first quarter of the season. Some of the different adjustments that teams will make, as we push forward will be new for those guys, and there's just a continual education process that has to go on for them from that standpoint. Again, it's critical for us to understand it's a long season in the NFL. It's a grueling kind of season for these guys, and especially the younger players that maybe didn't have a full off season or a couple off seasons to really kind of train their body for that kind of rigorous toll that they're going to put themselves through. We're always a little bit conscious with that with those younger players. It's just something we like to keep an eye on all the way across the board.
How valuable is it to have somebody, veteran like Golden, who you can pretty much count on game in and game out to produce, and you can put them back on punt returns and off the field, that type of stuff too?
Yeah, I mean, Golden, just individual, is a guy that's, a great guy that we can rely on a lot. He's very smart. He's really studies the game and knows, what the details are of the game plan that we have to execute along with the opponents that we're playing. Certainly, it's good to have a lot of guys like that are out there on a continual basis that can help us. And having the versatility with him or TJ Jones or whoever it is that has to go back there in those situations and handle some of the kicking duty return duty responsibilities is great. But that's part of something that we always practice from day one. We're always going to look at different situations, especially on special teams, kind of offensively, defensively, some of the positions that they play or the multiple roles that they play. But you take them into special teams and you just continually work on guys in different critical slots. The return obviously is a big one. The gunner situation is a big one. The personal protector on the punt, the backup snapper is a big one. So, there's just a lot of roles in there that are critical on special teams that maybe go unnoticed a little bit until there's something where somebody else needs to do it. And you better be prepared in those situations.
Just to be clear, since you referenced, all the reports that are out there, what's not complete about the trade yet? I mean, is it
Yeah, I'm going to leave the process up to itself and let it go from there, and we'll let you know when that process is complete.
Coach, you guys came off a bye last week. You're facing a team coming off a bye.
Yeah.
Is there something you try to do like earlier in a game when you're facing a team that hasn't played in a little while, to get things going a little differently?
Yeah, it's a good question. You wonder, obviously coming off our bye, I'm always a little bit concerned about how we're going to start, to get into rhythm again. Again, I think Seattle, they got a little bit of a jump on us this week and got going early. So I know Coach Carroll's going to have his group ready to go. We just got to be ready to go from the start. We can't let whatever happened last week affect us this week. We got to move on and get ready to go and just expect their best right away. They are a fast starting, aggressive team. We know that just in general. So we're going to have to be ready to go as soon as that thing kicks off. But we know that their energy, the competitiveness that Seattle brings, they're going to do a great job of trying to get on top early and keep the throttle all the way through the game.
You were asked about Jared Davis's play on Sunday, I think yesterday on the conference call, but overall, one of the things he's been pretty good at this year is when you've asked him to blitz, getting pressure, I think 40% of the time. What is it about his skill set that is good doing that?
Yeah, he does an outstanding job of just kind of seeing. He has great vision, obviously being a linebacker and some of the stuff he does in the run game. His vision is outstanding. And I think when you blitz or you have those opportunities to rush or pressure rush, it is a vision thing too. Some of the protections need to sort themselves out, or you got to identify who has you maybe in blitz pickup and try to attack a different space or a different gap. And then I would say his speed, which I think everybody can see out on the field, and his ability to close ground at a very rapid pace is something that I think has helped him so far.
They're not high-profile guys, but Carson and Davis as a unit, pretty tough as running backs.
Yeah, no doubt. I think they're right where they want to be. Coach Schottenheimer and Coach Carroll just kind of got the downhill run game going. Brian and I went against each other for a long time when he was at the Jets, and I know he likes that downhill kind of pound it run game, and I think he just has two backs that he feels are big physical guys that'll be hard to tackle for 60 minutes. And I think they're in a situation where they're handing the ball off 30 plus times here recently in order to control the game. And I think that's what they want to do. I think that's what he likes, is just to have those bigger backs that, it takes a toll. When you have those big guys, you may stop them for a yard or two early, but those 1 or 2 yard runs turn into 5 or 6, and then all of a sudden it's a 10 to 12, 20 yard run. And that's the biggest problem with guys like that. And I think they've just settled into a system that fits them real well.
One more question. Just to follow up on that, they have a new line coach this year too. I mean, do they look fundamentally different with what they're doing in the run game?
I would say that through the course of, just Coach Carroll being there, fundamentally they look similar, but I would say the technique is, definitely something I would see that is fundamentally, it looks just kind of refined a little bit. They're very much play with low pad level, hands inside, use their feet, try to grind you off the line of scrimmage. They're still very aggressive. Their offensive line does a good job of getting downfield and making some pretty violent blocks. if you're standing around a pile, you better be looking out because they're coming to get you. And I just think that aggressiveness has carried over through that competitiveness, that aggressiveness has carried over through the entire time that Coach Carroll has been there. But I would say from a technique standpoint, definitely looks like some of the footwork, the coordination, the hand placement, the pad level, and the eye control of the offensive lineman looks like it's really trending in a very good direction for them.
What do you guys think of Shaquem Griffin going into the draft?
Just, obviously a very explosive guy that had, some real disruptive plays. And I think you see that. I think you see some things on tape where, whether it's special teams, where he's just kind of right in the middle in the thick of things, finds the ball, makes some big plays, just very dynamic type of guy. So definitely could see the production on tape. Okay, appreciate it.